Hello and welcome. I am Owen Thorne, here to guide you into a gentle realm of rest and warmth. Take a moment now to settle yourself, whether you're tucked in bed or curled up in a favourite armchair. Feel the soft weight of each breath as it enters and leaves your body. That's right, in and out, allowing any tension to melt away with each exhale. This evening, we'll share a heartwarming tale about a dog's journey to a loving home. A simple, comforting story to ease you into a peaceful state. Look around your space, noticing the stillness, the calming hush that envelops you. Notice how your chest rises gently, then sinks back down in a slow, tranquil rhythm. If you can, close your eyes. Imagine yourself surrounded by a gentle, comforting glow. Let your shoulders become heavy, feeling them soften and loosen as worries drift far away. As the outside world grows quiet, you can give yourself permission to let go of today's demands. You deserve this peaceful moment. With every breath, invite a sense of calm to wash over you, a warm, soothing wave that starts at the top of your head and continues down to your toes. Imagine sinking deeper into your cushions or mattress, each muscle growing soft. Let the day's troubles flow off into the distance and open your mind to a serene story, one that will carry you gently toward rest. Now, take another long, soothing breath and exhale slowly. Feeling more relaxed already, you can settle in and allow your thoughts to drift as we begin a quiet tale filled with kindness, heart, and a loyal friend on a path to find a place to call home. In a calm, moonlit countryside, there lived a small dog with fur the colour of toasted wheat. His name was Rusty. He was neither large nor tiny, but comfortably in between. He had soft ears that flopped when he walked, and curious eyes that gleamed with a warm, chocolate brown glow. Rusty was a gentle soul who had long wandered the country lanes, meadows and fields, searching for a place where he truly belonged. Every morning, Rusty woke to the sound of birds singing. He would stretch his front paws far out in front of him, arch his back, and yawn, a big, satisfying yawn that filled his lungs with the crisp morning air. The dew on the grass sparkled like tiny crystals, and sometimes he would step carefully so he could feel the refreshing coolness beneath his paws. The gentle rays of the early sun would warm his fur, and he would take a moment to inhale the smells carried on the breeze. Scents of wildflowers, damp earth, and fresh leaves dancing among the tall grasses. For many days, Rusty wandered. He padded along winding dirt paths, past moss-covered fences and quiet ponds where frogs sang to each other at dusk. He didn't mind the solitude. In fact, Rusty took comfort in the gentle hum of nature that surrounded him. On especially bright days, the sunlight gleamed on his coat, creating a glowing halo around his form. When gentle rains came, he would wait beneath broad-leafed trees, letting the raindrops land all around, forming puddles that reflected the sky like tiny mirrors. Even though life on the road had its peaceful moments, Rusty often wondered what it would be like to have a real home, a cozy corner where he could drift off to sleep at night, secure in the knowledge that he was cherished and safe. He imagined a porch where he could rest his chin, watching the world go by. He imagined a soft blanket near a fireplace, the smell of something good cooking on the stove, and the gentle touch of a caring hand. One lovely afternoon, Rusty meandered through a field of wildflowers, feeling the sweet scent of lavender and honeysuckle waft around him. His ears perked up when he heard an unfamiliar noise, an engine rumbling softly in the distance. With cautious curiosity, he followed a narrow dirt road lined with tall birch trees. Their pale trunks looked like silent sentinels, watching over travellers with their white bark and whispering leaves. Soon, Rusty came upon a small farmhouse nestled behind an old wooden gate. Ivy crept along the fence, and pink roses bobbed lazily in a gentle breeze. At the farm's doorstep stood a person leaning down, tying up a pair of well-worn boots. Her name was Rosie. She had kind eyes that mirrored the same warm hue as Rusty's. The moment Rosie saw him, his gentle posture, the slight tilt of his head, she felt a subtle tug at her heart. Rusty's tail gave a small wag, just enough to say hello. Rosie slowly approached him, bending down with an outstretched hand. Rusty lowered his head and sniffed her fingertips, sensing only gentleness. Rosie spoke soft words of greeting, sweet as the surrounding blossoms. Sensing no harm, Rusty let her lightly stroke his ears. The warmth of her touch was like a comfort he'd long imagined, and he couldn't help but close his eyes for a moment, absorbing the kindness that radiated from her. In that stillness, the wind whispered through the leaves and swirled around them both, as though celebrating this tender meeting. Over the course of several days, Rusty lingered near Rosie's farmhouse. He discovered that she spent her mornings in the garden, wearing a straw hat to shield her eyes from the sun, planting seeds or tending to vegetables already growing. She would talk to him in a soft voice, sometimes with a gentle laugh in her tone, and Rusty would wag his tail in reply. Each day, she laid out a small bowl of water for him by the porch, and occasionally slipped him bits of leftover bread or roasted chicken. Rosie lived a quiet life, taking care of her garden and tending to a few chickens that clucked around their coop. She would gather eggs each morning, humming a tune under her breath. The farm was her little haven, a place of simplicity and honest work. Her eyes seemed to shine brighter whenever she glanced Rusty's way, happy to see him prancing around the yard, exploring new smells beneath the shade of the trees. For a while, Rusty's routine became a gentle pattern. He would wake at sunrise, stretch in the soft rays of dawn, and roam around the property, sniffing out interesting scents. Sometimes he discovered fluffy dandelions that made him sneeze if he got too close. Sometimes he trotted to the edge of the nearby stream, watching clear water trickle over round stones. As midday heat settled in, he would wander back to the farmhouse, where Rosie might be sitting on the porch, sipping a cup of tea and waiting to say hello. Yet, there remained a small uncertainty in Rusty's heart. He didn't know if this peaceful place could truly be home. He didn't want to intrude or overstay his welcome, and Rosie never forced him to stay inside. She merely offered him kindness and space, allowing him to roam as he pleased. At times, Rusty would sense a pull inside, a longing to keep going, to see what else lay beyond the horizon. Other times, he felt drawn to the warmth emanating from Rosie's gentle presence. One afternoon, as dusk softened the sky into shades of pink and gold, Rosie placed a small blanket on the porch. It was an old, patched-up quilt with faded flowers. She patted the blanket and spoke soothing words, encouraging Rusty to curl up if he so wished. The invitation was quiet, a testament to her respect for Rusty's sense of comfort. After a moment's hesitation, Rusty stepped onto the porch. With a tentative wag of his tail, he circled the blanket once, then slowly sank onto its soft surface. The quilt cradled him, giving him an unfamiliar sense of belonging. A hush fell over the yard, broken only by the night breeze and the distant call of a whip poor-will. Under the gentle glow of the porch light, Rusty drifted into a calm, dream-filled sleep, lulled by the knowledge that kindness was near. Days slipped into weeks, and Rusty's paws grew accustomed to the smooth wooden boards of the farmhouse porch. He learned the rustle of Rosie's apron, the sound of the screen door creaking, and the gentle hush of her voice as she watered the flowers along the fence. Sometimes he ventured farther, exploring the edges of a nearby orchard where apples glowed red in the late summer sun. He never strayed too far though, for the farm held a gentle pull, like a soft lullaby that called him back. Gradually, as weeks passed, Rusty allowed Rosie to guide him inside on cooler evenings. She would open the door with an inviting gesture, and Rusty would peer in, sniffing the air. Then, with a cautious step, he'd cross the threshold, the old wooden floor creaking softly beneath his paws. A small hearth warmed the sitting room, and a woven rug lay on the floor, perfect for curling up to enjoy the dancing glow of the fire. The first time Rusty rested by that hearth, the crackle of the flames lulled him into a deep, contented sleep, so tranquil that he scarcely heard the raindrops pattering against the window. When morning dawned, Rosie would sometimes find Rusty with his muzzle resting on his paws, eyes half closed, lost in contented dreams. She might set a small bowl of warm broth near him, the rich scent coaxing him awake. There was never a rush, never a command to hurry or to leave. In this place, Rusty discovered a gentle acceptance that felt more like home with each passing day. One particularly bright morning, Rosie decided to give Rusty a little bath. He was dusty from his adventures, with tiny bits of leaves caught in his fur. She filled a shallow tub outside, letting the sun warm the water. Rusty stood near, a bit uncertain, but Rosie's soft words and gentle hands eased his worry. The water was lukewarm, soothing his muscles. Rosie's laughter was a sweet melody as she lathered his coat with mild soap that smelled faintly of lavender. The soap bubbles sparkled in the sunlight, floating momentarily on the breeze before bursting with a silent pop. Rusty soon found he enjoyed this unusual experience, wagging his tail lightly whenever Rosie scratched behind his ears just the way he liked. After the bath, Rosie dried Rusty with a fluffy towel, carefully patting his fur and humming a soft tune. The warm breeze helped Rusty dry in no time, leaving him feeling light and refreshed. He trotted around the yard, giving a shake every now and then, as if testing out this newly clean coat. When he glanced back at Rosie, he saw her contented smile, and something inside him stirred. For the first time, he felt the comfort of belonging, as though an invisible cord of affection now connected them. From that day forward, Rusty's bond with Rosie deepened. He would greet her each morning with a cheerful wag of his tail, and she would respond by running her hand gently along his back, saying, "Good morning, my friend." The house was filled with the scent of herbs and home cooking, which Rusty found comforting in a way that only love-filled spaces can be. He would observe Rosie as she kneaded bread dough, her sleeves rolled up as she worked with a steady, rhythmic motion. The flour dusting her hands reminded him of the soft clouds that passed overhead on sunny days. If Rusty watched quietly and stayed out of trouble, Rosie might tear off a small piece of dough for him to sniff and examine. Though it wasn't exactly a treat, the gesture made him feel included, like an important part of daily life. Occasionally, friends of Rosie would drop by for afternoon tea or to chat, bringing with them a gentle murmur of conversation. They would notice Rusty tucked on the porch or lying quietly by the hearth, and they would remark on how calm he seemed, how warm his eyes were. Rosie's cheeks would flush happily, and she'd nod, saying, "He showed up one day, and it was as though he'd always been meant to come here." Rusty, listening to the sound of her voice, felt a soft glow of pride, though he couldn't have put that feeling into words. He only knew that in her presence, in this environment, he felt at peace. With every passing season, the farm shifted through small changes. Summer mornings glowed with golden sunlight that gilded the edges of the barn and warmed the fields. Rusty would follow Rosie outside to pick ripe tomatoes, their red skins gleaming in the morning light. Sometimes she offered him a sniff of a freshly picked vegetable, and he would wag his tail as if to say, "Yes, that's nice, but I'd prefer a biscuit if you have one." When the day grew too hot, they both sought the shade, sitting on the porch with a cool breeze carrying the sounds of distant cicadas. When autumn arrived, the orchard leaves turned a fiery mix of red and orange. They fell to the ground in gentle spirals, creating a soft, rustling carpet under Rusty's paws. Rosie would gather windfall apples to make pies, the scent of cinnamon and sugar wafting through the house. Rusty found delight in wandering the orchard, chasing the occasional swirling leaf with playful curiosity. Even as the wind grew cooler, it felt gentle against his fur, like a reminder that change could be comforting when shared with someone who cares. Winter brought a hush over the farm. Snow blanketed the fields, and icicles glimmered from the edges of the barn roof. Rosie's farmhouse, however, stayed warm from the wood-burning stove and the steady flame in the fireplace. Rusty no longer slept on the porch then. Instead, he lay on the rug beside the hearth, curling up in the close-knit warmth. Rosie sometimes found him snoring softly, his paws twitching in dream chases. She would place a light blanket over him, mindful not to wake him, content in the knowledge that he finally felt safe enough to let himself fall into deep slumber. And then came spring. The snow melted, giving way to the soft, wet earth beneath Rusty's paws. The world seemed to wake up all at once, the farm bursting with green shoots and tiny blossoms. Rosie hummed a cheerful tune as she planted seeds in the garden, coaxing new life from the ground. Rusty wagged his tail at the return of the gentle sun, sniffing at the new blossoms on the breeze. To him, it felt like a promise. Each season would bring fresh wonder, and he would be here, comfortable and cherished, to watch it all unfold. Over time, Rosie and Rusty's connection became a quiet understanding, an unspoken agreement that they were now home to each other. When evening came and the last glow of sunlight painted the sky in pastel shades of violet and rose, Rosie would pour a cup of tea and Rusty would settle at her feet. They'd watch the stars blink awake in the sky, the crickets starting their nightly serenade. She would speak softly, sometimes telling Rusty about her day, her joys, or the new flowers she planned to plant. While he could not reply with words, his presence offered a reassuring calm, as though he absorbed and understood everything she shared. On one particularly clear evening, Rosie sat outside long after the sun had disappeared, gazing at the slender crescent moon. Rusty lay with his head on his paws, eyes half-lidded, savouring the gentle hush of night. A faint smile played on Rosie's lips as she reached down to ruffle his ears. In that moment, she whispered softly, "Thank you for finding me." Rusty made a small, contented sound, a quiet exhalation that might have been a sigh of agreement. They both felt it, that intangible bond that forms when two lonely souls meet and realize they no longer need to face the world alone. And so, Rusty's wandering days drew to a close, replaced by a life touched by kindness and care. No more endless roads, no more uncertainty. From the outside, it was simply a dog settling at a farmhouse. But for Rusty, it was everything: a loving home, a companion who spoke kindly, a warm corner by the fire. He experienced gentle hands that showed him tenderness and companionship, a safe place to rest his paws at the end of each day. As time went on, Rusty became a steadfast helper in his own small ways. He would greet visitors, ensuring they felt the peaceful welcome that defined this place. When Rosie worked in the garden, he might gently nudge a lost seed back toward a row, or chase off crows that threatened the produce. He took to following her around, pausing every so often to sniff the air or investigate a fluttering butterfly. The farm's rhythms became his rhythms. a soft weaving together of tasks and rest, sunshine and shade, work and gentle play. Now and then, Rusty would recall the open road, the meadows where he once roamed, the nights he slept beneath the stars. He would remember the uncertainty of not knowing where he belonged. But whenever he felt that memory stir in his mind, he would take a glance around. The sturdy walls of the farmhouse, the warmth of the small stove, the sound of Rosie's voice, the feeling of her hand gently scratching behind his ears. In that comforting reality, the old wandering urge faded, replaced by a peaceful knowledge that he was exactly where he was meant to be. Night settles over the farmhouse once more. The moon rises, casting a gentle glow through the windows, illuminating the cozy interior where Rusty dozes by the hearth. Outside, a soft breeze rustles the garden's leaves and the crickets begin their lullaby. Rosie quietly tidies her home, then rests in a nearby chair, content to hear the slow, steady sound of Rusty's breathing. In the stillness, the air feels hushed and forgiving. The day's energy ebbs, leaving nothing but this precious calm. The stars are out, sparkling in the dark sky, watching over this peaceful home. Perhaps the moonlight falls on Rusty's face, revealing a small doggy smile as he sleeps. This is the time for all gentle souls to drift away into deep and restful slumber. May your night be serene, your dreams comforting. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well, and awaken only when morning's soft light calls you back once more.